Welcome, I'm Coach Woodbray, and this is My House Throws. Welcome, My House Throwers. I'm Coach Woodbray. In this video, we'll go through the drills to help perfect and correct the mechanics of the power throw. Many throwers have a problem with their ankles and the movement of their ankles. When you're throwing, you want to keep those ankles active. If they stop, then you're going to be in a position where you're not going to be able to get the most amount of power that you're desiring, and you're not going to be able to open up your hips to the sector. So a drill that I do is called the bottle drill. The bottle drill is going to help me know if my delivery ankle is flaring out enough and if my block ankle is coming down to give me some block. Now, you'll notice in this first drill that as I'm doing it, I put the two bottles just away from my ankles. The back one, I want to have it kicked away from me, but the front one, I don't want to have it kicked away. If I kick it, it means I've over-rotated, and now I'm not pushing on the inside of my block leg, but on the outside of my block leg. So incorrect would look very much like this drill where both of the bottles will fly away. If I'm doing it correct, I'll put both those bottles there, and as I go through these motions, you'll notice that the one by the delivery ankle is going to be hit far away. The upper one, or the one by my block heel, will stay. Practice that over and over until you get used to that blocking motion on your block side, and you continue to rotate your delivery side so you can get the torque. Those who reverse in their throw will still want to do this drill. You may be thinking, well, my heel actually never comes down on my block side because I'm going to reverse. However, this drill is going to get muscle memory to tell your body that you need to stop rotating. Even though your heel will never touch the ground, your toe needs to stop and be on the inside. And so this drill helps both those who are non-reversers and reversers. Some throwers have a tendency to have their chest too far forward because their block side is not driving back. So this drill I call pushback is going to help to make sure that I get some torque in that lower body and will put my chest in an upright position. I want you to find a wall where you can do this drill. You're going to put your block foot where the wall meets the ground and put your foot up next to it. The reason for that is because it's going to have something that it can drive away from. Now, as you start winding here, as you get in the position, you're loading your delivery side, and you start to go there, you want to drive that foot back and lock that knee, and the hip is going to go back as a reaction. Now, this drill is not to be practicing your staying long motion. So one method that you might want to do as you're doing this drill is to fold your arms so you can still get that swing of the upper body. Or you can go ahead and just tuck that upper body as you're starting to throw, whether you're doing a discus or a shot put. Either of them will work, but it is not, once again, working at staying long, because we'll want that arm extended through that wall, but I don't want your chest to touch that wall. So this drill, once again, is working on pushing that block side back. Another habit that throwers have is when they get in the power position, is they start to shift their weight to the back side, their blocking knee will bend. And we don't want a bended block knee, or else it's going to shift the weight in ways that we don't want it to shift. So we need to break that habit, and I call this drill the bend breaker. You're going to be using some resistant bands, and you're going to have it through the middle part of your foot all the way up through your shoulder. As you turn and get into your power position back there, if you bend that knee, this band that I have, it's a high resistance, it's going to make your knee pop up. And so the objective of this one is to keep that knee nice and straight. So as you start coming around in this drill, we want to make sure that block leg gets planted firmly on the ground, and it's going to go basically straight down so we can get a good power position and a good block so we can drive backwards. Once again, this one is to get rid of that bended knee. We don't want to be bending. We still want, for the most part, a straight knee. Now you'll notice as I start to throw, that band will be in front of the knee when I end my throw. As I turn, I'll have an angle that I want, and as I start to throw, my body is going to be perpendicular to the ground, and that band never went behind my knee, or my knee never went through the band. And so I'm going to keep that good posture that's going to be needed for power. Another thing that we want to make sure that we are doing correctly is getting our hip all the way through. Our delivery side, we've got the lower body working, and our hip, as our foot turns towards 11 o'clock, our hip ought to go right down the block side sector line. And so to practice that, I've set up some PVC pipes, and I put a little pool noodle there. And as I do my power throw, I want to make sure that my hip drives all the way through the throw. And so it ought to be pointing right down that sector line. So this is a good drill to test whether or not it's just barely getting to that point or if it's powering through the throw. When we're doing the power throw, we want to make sure that our power is going out into the sector, but we also want to make sure that there's some lift, and our lower body is going to help with that lift. A lot of throwers, they're going to throw flat, whether it's shot put or discus, and so we need to do what I call the noodle drill that will indicate on where those hips are going and if I'm getting some lift from my drive. So what I'm going to want to do is have my hands nice and lax. My upper body is nice and loose. My lower body, I'm going to do the motions 1 through 3 to find out what happens to my upper body as it's nice and relaxed. If I'm doing it wrong, as I drive nice and hard and aggressively, my arms will fly forward. And that indicates to me that I'm just going with my momentum with the rotational aspect of it. And there's no lift. But if I do it correctly, as I start to do my 1 through 3, my arms ought to fly up into the air, and my delivery side hand ought to come down the block side and slap the hip, the blocking hip. Once again, the purpose of this is to see if I'm getting good lift from my power position. If it's done wrong, you're going to throw out into the sector. If it's done right, those arms will fly up over your chest and slap the block side hip. Continue to practice these lower body drills that will help your power throw to be more effective, and you're going to see a big difference in your throws. And you'll really be proud of what you have built because it's my house.